What's going on YouTube? This is Chrissy Sarah 71 here bringing out a video. Today I'm bringing you a video on Power Rangers Dino Supercharged episode 13. This episode came out over the weekend. Really good episode. A lot of stuff happened, but it's a really cool episode. What ends up going on in this episode is that everyone's trying to impress this food critic at the Dino Cafe, and the thing is that they're very nervous. You have Tyler who's like waiting on her, and you have Chase who's trying to make a pavlova cake, which is from Australia, New Zealand, Australia, where he's from basically. And the thing is that every single time he does it, it explodes. So there's constant explosions, and the thing is that when they try to serve it after 3 times of screwing up, when they go out hoping that it actually doesn't explode, it does. Explodes right on the food critic. She's like, I'm going to shut this place down. And the thing is that she storms out there and she's covered in cake. What ends up happening then is that they're like Chase is determined to figure out a way to get the cake right and fix the problems and make it a better cake. So they end up trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. They end up experimenting inside of the Dino Charge base, trying to figure out the best way to do it and all that stuff. And what happens is that all this is going on, but then you end up seeing back in the villain's base, you also have like this whole entire introduction about like this the evil dark energem, and how there was this evil creature that tried to gain control of the energems and all this other stuff, and there's background. What ends up happening then in the villain's base is that you end up seeing that Wrench has developed a monster called Fortress that can basically, based off of the attacks that the Zords have, it will be able to counter all their attacks that are known. So this is an episode that I've seen in multiple shows. I'm not necessarily sure if PR/Sentai has done this, but I know other shows have definitely done this with mixing up weapons or doing something where it's like a new move. That's happened before in a lot of shows, so it's cool, and it's good to see that they even did it, because it's a really good concept. What ends up happening is that they end up going over this, and they're like, how will I be able to tell? How will you be able to tell the monster what attack combinations or what? Because like that's the thing, it has to be voice activated, like what the combination is. So the thing is that it's like, well, that's because there's going to be a cockpit inside, so that Heckle himself can control it. And so he's like, oh, I get to have my own monster cockpit. Now, of course, this has happened before. My favorite example of this is obviously Goldar with his cockpit. But, there's several others that have happened with, like, Zargang having his own. I think even Zeltrax had his own. But there's been a bunch, There's been a whole bunch of those kind of characters where they have their own. Usually it's like lead generals that get it. And it's good. Anyway, what ends up happening is that they're all happy about this, and they're trying to figure out the recipes. And what happens is that Chase loses his energem, which ends up being actually in. He doesn't realize where it is, and then he thinks, oh, when the cake exploded, it must have fallen into her bag, because her bag was covered in cake too. So he ends up going through her bag or whatever, and. But in the meantime, you end up having this whole entire evil story where you end up seeing Lord Arcanian, who is the equivalent to Chaos in Japan, showing up, and basically the idea is that he hired Sledge to attack the Rangers and get the energems and all that other stuff years ago, and the only creature that Sledge ever feared was Lord Arcanian. And the thing is that Lord Arcanian's coming here with Singe, who was Lord Arcanian's servant. So that's where his power play, he's always talking to someone. That's who he's been talking to. And then the other person he's with is Doomwing, which is a very important character that we haven't gotten to too much of yet, but we will be getting to, I'm sure. And a lot of people who have watched Japanese know how significant he is. Also, they mentioned Sentai 6 in this episode, which is interesting. It's obviously Sentai and 6, okay, whatever. Anyway, what ends up happening is that they end up doing all this stuff. And they're like, oh, I'm here to collect the bounty for all my monsters, including you, Heckle. You're gonna be collected as well. And so they end up having a big fight between Heckle and Lord Arcanian, and then Heckle becomes snide, and then they end up attacking some more, and then eventually they go. Lord Arcanian Doomwing ends up summoning the Zords, and Lord Arcanian, Doomwing, and Singe are able to control the Plesio T-Rex Pocky formation or whatever it was, and the Ranger's like, what's going on? And then they're like all curious and stuff, and in the meantime, he's trying to get Chase is trying to get the Energem, which he ends up getting, and she ends up saying, I'll give you another chance, but you have to remember, don't just do the same thing each time, mix it up, be different with your Pavlovian cake, be embrace the kiwi, change things up, be different. It's weird. Anyway, all this ends up happening. You see villains against villains in this episode, so it's really interesting to see that intense battle going on. They even summon like the other six other Zords, not including the Titanozord, because but the thing is that they do have the Titano Energem, not Titano Energem, Titano Charger, not Energem. So what ends up happening is that they end up fighting and all that, and eventually they end up giving up the Megazord and going away, and it's like, we'll deal with Singe later. So then what happens is the Rangers end up going in it, and they realize the only way they can do a Fortress is by using a new formation, which they end up using the Dino Charge Ultra Zord formation, which is really useful. They end up fighting Fortress, and Fortress can't compete, and eventually Fortress is defeated. It's really cool. And then what happens is that when Fortress is defeated, Heckle ends up falling to the ground. Heckle is weakened to a point that he can't move, and what happens is that they end up collecting his body and trapping him back in his cell where he was kept. That had the danger sign on it originally and everything, so he was trapped there again. Now Lord Arcanian is in charge, and the food critic ends up showing up, and when she eats the cake, she's like, you're gonna have to make a lot more. And at first I think, that means that it was bad. No, because once the review is posted, everyone's gonna want it. That's basically what she was saying. Like, she loved it. So it's a nice episode, very sweet, good story, generally a good premise overall. I liked it a lot. I liked the new edition of the Zords. I liked seeing Lord Arcanian, which I'm curious about him more. There's also the mention of Doomwing potentially. The theory is that Doomwing might just be the Silver Ranger in disguise, or might be captured by him, or might be his other persona. It's unclear, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but that's what people have been theorizing, that maybe Doomwing is supposed to be the Silver Ranger, but an evil Ranger in this case. So we will have to wait and see. I'd love to know your guys' opinions in the comments below. Leave your comments below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, I'm Crazy71, and goodbye, guys. And please remember to check out my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube page, and subscribe, like, comment, and the rest. And goodbye, guys.